Hello, YouTubers out there. This is Jerry Saravia at the movies. So, the Big D Corporation has now released a trailer for a new movie called Peter Pan and Wendy, and it's going to be shown on D Plus. uh, there's an issue with saying the full name of this corporation, which you all know what it is. Anyhow, this is the latest live-action remake of Peter Pan. There have been three previous ones, one of which I only saw, which was Hook back in 1991. Terribly misguided, ultimately very syrupy, heavy on the syrup adaptation of Peter Pan, and one of the most needless ones that I've seen for sure. And of course, there was a Peter Pan version in 2003, which I never saw, and another one called Pan, which came out later. Now, the only reason I bring this up is because I saw the trailer, which, is fine. I haven't seen a lot of the live-action remakes that the Big D has been putting out lately, some of which I have a passing interest and I may check out at some point. I'm not going to see, for example, a new version of Beauty and the Beast, which is essentially the same movie as the animated film with virtually the same songs, which makes you wonder why bother. And I think they're doing the same thing with Little Mermaid, making it live action, and which is coming out, I think, this year. And they've done Pete's Dragon and so on and so forth. I'm more interested in the Big D coming out with other types of projects. But the reason I bring this one up is because I've seen some comments from people having issues with what they mistakenly call woke, but really what it is the pushing diversity. Now, here's the thing. Let's go back to Hook from 1991, which was Steven Spielberg's live-action remake. And in that picture, as you remember, it was Robin Williams who played an older Peter Pan. Now, at that time, in the 90s, there was this thing about having stories about fathers who are trying their best to make amends. In other words, they should be more connected with their families and less with their jobs type thing. There were quite a few films like that at that point. So that was what we called politically correct to some degree. And that is Peter Pan literally gets to relive the inner child in himself because he's an older Peter Pan. He's a businessman. He's consistently on his cell phone and not paying enough attention to his kids. And now Captain Hook has taken his kids to Neverland, and now he's back in Neverland. And eventually he learns how to become Peter Pan all over again, but much older. So now in that picture, in Hook, there was a character named Rufio from the Lost Boys who was Asian. Now that doesn't matter. I don't care. A lot of people like that character. Fine. But what's interesting about this remake is that there are some issues with the color of the skin of some of the characters. Now it looks like the Lost Boys are not just boys. There are some girls, which brings up some questions here. I don't know why they decided to go that route. Doesn't matter what ethnicity they are. For some people, this does matter. And it's called woke, which it's not. It's just diversity. Diversity does not imply wokeness. That is to say, in a movie where you have normally characters who are white being played by other ethnicities. So, but I already did a video about that, so I'm not going to regurgitate that again. They've hijacked the word woke to mean something it's not. But nonetheless, if we're talking just about diversity, yes, I guess you could say that. But let's just call it what it is. It's diversity. So they're diversifying. And it looks like Alexander Maloney, who plays, or Maloney, who plays Peter Pan, might appear to be a little less than white, although he is apparently a British actor. And not that there aren't different ethnicities in Great Britain who are British, but nonetheless, Ever Anderson plays Wendy Darling, who is in fact quite white, clearly. Jude Law plays Captain Hook, white, fine. And then you've got Yara Shahidi as Tinkerbell. This will be the first Tinkerbell who has darker skin. Now, all of these things seem to account for an issue that people have. And my feeling is, what is the issue? Now, if the filmmakers chose to do a new Pan movie because they wanted to make it more diversified, to diversify the cast, okay, that's really not the best reason to do it, but all right, it is what it is. But what I find interesting is that, well, for example, Jim Gaffigan plays Mr. Smee. He's definitely about as white can get. And Molly Parker is Mary Darling, and so on and so forth. And it looks like what they're trying to do is, judging by these comments, they want to avoid the racial stereotypes present in the original film, which I imagine they mean the Peter Pan from 1953, the animated picture. So that's it. Although this project, according to the filmmaker, was very personal to him because he's a fan of the original. But my issue is, why do these people, these very few people, have an issue because there are different ethnicities present when there were already some in Hook? And that was 30 years ago. All the Lost Boys weren't white. So it's interesting how they seem to forget their own cinema history. They're rolling it back, and then they don't roll it back further enough to find out. Because some people are fans of Hook. That has become some sort of a family picture. I don't know why. I think it's a bore, that movie. It's very boring, clunky. It's just not very exciting. But why is there an issue with this when they could have had an issue with the diverse Lost Boys from Hook from 1991? Now, I can't speak to the other Peter Pan versions, but what is really their issue? And this continues to be a thing. Now, to be fair, I understand there is a lot of this going on, but diversity is just, there's more of a preponderance of it, but it's always been there. You know, it really always has been there. It's just much more uniform now. And yes, they are taking certain characters and changing them a bit in terms of their ethnicity. I really don't see the problem. Why should that really matter? I mean, Peter Pan is fictional. It's not real. It's not a true story. It's not adapted from a historic event that happened in history, and certainly in British history. So, I don't know. It's just a bit nuts, the whole thing. I don't understand it, but maybe some of you out there do, and share me your thoughts. I mean, this is not something I'm really looking forward to, but I saw the trailer and I read some of the other comments, particularly on YouTube, and very negative comments with regards to ethnicity. And I often say, you know, what is really your problem with this? I don't know. Sure, a lot of things have, a lot of films now, particularly like the new Lord of the Rings and so on and so forth, are featuring different ethnicities and roles usually played by white people. But I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. And maybe, you know, who knows where this really all started, but I am saying it started a lot further back than people think. And that's what they don't realize. So let me your thoughts. Tell me what you think about this new trailer, or if you can even bother watching it. I don't know if I will. Like I said, I haven't seen a lot of the new Big D live action remakes, but let me your thoughts, what you think about Peter Pan. And if you agree about Hook from 1991, I mean, talk about diversity and politically correct. That was from 1991, so I don't know what these people are complaining about necessarily, but who knows. So let me your thoughts. Please subscribe to the channel if you like what you hear. And this is Jerry Saravia at the Movies, signing off.